Hello one and all, it's Zero Raven here, and today we're going to start another ZED editing tutorial for you. This one's going to teach you how to create sectors or rooms in ZED, and then how to connect them with things like hallways. First off, every time you open ZED you are given a default sector. It is 2 Jedi units wide, 2 Jedi Knight units long, and 1 Jedi Knight unit tall. For reference, each solid line is 1 unit. This is roughly equal to 10 meters. If it's possible for you to see, there are dots at 0.1 intervals. This is equal to 1 meter. This is how I set up my ZED, which can be used by hitting the F4 key to bring up the map settings. On the grid tab, you have line every 1 and dot every 0.1. This is useful for getting accurate measurements for creating things like architecture. Now first we have, by hitting the F12 key to bring up our 3D preview, our default sector. It is essentially a square box covered in what's known as default.mat. Now mat is a material file or texture. In order to create rooms and then connect them, we are going to need to create another sector or room in which we will connect. This is done by hitting the K key and then clicking on the map. As you can see, another square was created, which if we go again to our 3D preview window, is in fact another sector. Now, as you may have noticed, there is nothing in between the two sectors, no way to walk from one sector to the other. We are going to create a very simplistic hallway to connect them. First off, we are going to drag this sector so we can align it properly for connecting. To do this, we are going to hit the Control key, and while holding Control, click and drag on the sector. We're going to move it down to this line and center it for easier use. Now there are several ways you can adjoin sectors. Today we're going to start with a very simple extrusion method. In order to do this, we need to figure out which two surfaces need to be connected. We're going to start with our larger room. We're going to select the face closest to the adjoined sector. By hitting Shift 2, we're going to switch to a frontal mode. Now in order to cleave the surface that we selected, we are going to hit the C key, which brings up a sort of lightsaber looking slash line. We're going to click, hold, and drag. As you can see, as we click, hold, and drag, a red line is created to indicate the line that we are cleaving. We can also use this for angles, but primarily we use it for lines. We are going to repeat this step until we have a nice 0.4 by 0.4 section of the wall carved out. In 3D preview, as you can see, there is no change to the actual wall texture. Just a note that it has been cleaved on the editor window. Shift back to top view with Shift 1, and now we are going to extrude the surface. There are two ways to extrude. You can either use the X key to extrude, which should extrude it by 0.4 units, which is the base of the outer edges. In this case, we're going to use the Shift X method, which allows you to set an extrusion distance. So let's hit Shift X, which brings up the extrude window. Again, by default, because it is a 0.4 by 0.4 square, the extrusion distance is 0.4. We are going to change that to a variable of 1. to extrude the surface by one full Jedi unit or 10 meters. Once that is done, hit OK. We have now created a new extruded sector. This will be the basis for our hallway connecting our two rooms. The only problem, however, is that the secondary room is still not connected to the hallway. In order to connect it to the hallway, we need to cleave the surface and adjoin it. So let's select the surface closest to the hallway. Let's go back to our frontal view again with Shift 2. And now using the C key command for cleave, we will cleave out the surface until we line up with the hallway. Now when we adjoin a surface, the key command, I believe, is Control A for adjoin. The two surfaces connect, and we are left with a connected walkway leading between the two rooms. As you can see, both rooms are now accessible from that hallway. That is how to create rooms and adjoin them using hallways.